Welcome to Draw With Me. I'm Erica Schmitz, founder of MyBodyModel, and this is my first ever Facebook Live video. Today I'll be using my one model per page printout of MyBodyModel to draw the Zadie jumpsuit. All right, I am ready to start. Today I'll be drawing the Paper Theory Zadie jumpsuit. The jumpsuit comes in two different views, one with sleeves and one without sleeves. I'm going to be using the pattern flats and some inspiration photos to draw the Zadie jumpsuit on MyBodyModel. This is the one model per page printout of my printable sketchbook from MyBodyModel, and I'm going to do the short sleeve version today. So a few things to look at before we even start drawing is to notice the different design elements of the pattern. I look at things like ease. Is it fitted? Is it roomy? I look at the type of fabric. Am I going to be using really drapey fabric or really stiff fabric with a lot of body? I also try to pay attention to where the seam lines are so that I can transfer them onto my drawing. And then I like to look at things like where the hems end, like the hem of the pants, or where the sleeves are going to end, or the neckline in relation to the body. And to know that, it's using the pattern flat doesn't give you that information. So I like to look first at the model photos from the pattern, and I'm going to pull those up. And then I also like to look at Instagram and just an image search on Google. So here's one of the model photos from the pattern designer, and we can see a lot of visual information here, including where the pants end on the leg, and we can also see where the sleeves end on the arm. We can see where that V of the neck lands. And then this is made up in kind of a structured denim fabric, so we can see how that looks on the model in that type of fabric. The other visual information we have from the pattern designer is from this model photo of the short sleeve version, and this fabric has a little bit of body but is slightly drapier and thinner than the denim. And this is a good one to see where the sleeves end in the short sleeve version. And then again, we can see that the hemline is just a little bit, it's not mid-calf, it's a little bit below mid-calf and a little bit above the ankle. So we use that information when we're drawing it on the body model. So I'm going to put that aside, but first, because none of these models are standing in the same way as my body model, who's standing straight up and down with the arms at the sides. So I want to find another image, hopefully, that will help me get even more information to draw. So it's kind of a detective search. I like to use Instagram is great because you can just scan through and see lots of photos and lots of different people and body shapes and heights to see how the pattern looks on them, and also see what different fabrics look like. So if it's a really drapey fabric, if it's a stiffer fabric with more body, you can see sometimes people leave information about their own measurements. You can kind of guess at what it might look like on your body. Here's just another example of shots from Instagram. And then the other thing you can look for is just do a Google image search. So these are the first ones that pulled up in my Google image search. And I found a few of people standing in a way that it's really easy to look at how the pattern falls on the body in different types of fabric. And then I was able to pull up a few where it's just really easy to see those design details. This one's from myhandmadewardrobe.com sewing blog, and this is from the Tip Stitch sewing blog. And I especially like this one because she noted in her blog post that she didn't make any adjustments at all. She just made the pattern as is. So I'm going to be referring to this photograph from Tip Stitched along with the pattern flats, which give us the most information around where seam lines are and things like that, to draw on my body model. So I'm going to put these aside and we'll be referring to those. I'm going to move my little sign away. Welcome to Draw With Me, everybody. This is my first ever live video, and so I'm so happy that you're joining me, and I'd love to hear any feedback after we do this, or ideas for the next one, including any patterns that you would like to see me draw, or any other information that you would like me to share in these live videos. So here's my body model. The first thing I want to look at for me before I draw anything, and I'm using a Frixion erasable marker. I also like to use Frixion erasable pens. They have like a little nubby thing that you can erase with, but pencil and eraser works great for this too. Okay, so the first thing I want to see on the pattern and on the reference photo that I'm looking at is where different design elements land on the body. So we've got the pattern flat, which has a lot of visual information about the design. And then I pulled up this photo from Tip Stitched sewing blog, which has information. I chose her because I feel like her body shape is similar to mine, and I can it'll help me kind of guess at where different design elements will land on my body. So one of the first things for me, because I am quite busty, is I tend to try to guess where the neckline will land. And the main design element of this jumpsuit is that it's a wrap jumpsuit, and that creates a dramatic diagonal design line. And then there's the belt sash and the wide legs. So I want to transfer all of those elements onto my body model drawing. So looking first is I use reference points on the body to figure out where they're going to land in terms of the clothes on my body. So for me, cleavage is a big reference point on my body, and it looks to me like the Zadie Jumpsuit crossover point on me would be kind of right at the top of my cleavage. So I just put a little dot there just as a reference point for myself, and there's going to be a diagonal line going across, that's the wrap, and then a diagonal line going across, that's the other side of the neckline. But another really important design element of the Zadie Jumpsuit is where the waistline is, and it's right at the natural waist. And on the MyBodyModel printout, we have little markings that are reference points for your natural waist point, and that's where you did all your measurements from. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that line on my body model, because the Zadie Jumpsuit goes, that belt across the design goes right across the natural waist. So I'm going to go ahead and draw on that line, and I'm starting there for the rest of my drawing. And that belt is going to be kind of try to guess at the width of the belt based on the drawings, and there's going to be a tie. But now that I know where the waistline is, it's easier for me to draw that wrap element. And looking at the design flats, you can see that it's a kind of a narrow neckline, goes right around the neck. And looking at my reference photo from Tip Stitched, I can see also kind of in relation to the neck where on the neck my neckline is going to go. So I'm just doing little dots, which if you have pencil, it makes it really easy. And then you can also erase those later. But on my body, based on the visual information from the designer and from photos of other people that have made the pattern, I can kind of guess at where that neckline is going to go. And that diagonal line is going to go around my neck, and it's going to go around the body right to about that point. And then there's a belt there that comes out from that wrap. So that's the start of it, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw the other side, making the line, make sure it goes around the body and wraps over. So I've got the basic wrap drawn. The next visual information I want to look at is those sleeves. And they're cap sleeves on the pattern. You can see it right here. And looking at the design flat, it's hard to know where on the arm that ends. So that's why I use lots of reference images to see where that cap sleeve is going to end on me. And so I'm going to go ahead and draw those sleeves based on my reference images that you can pull from Instagram or different sewing blogs. You can do a Google image search, and I'm going to draw using my model photo here from Tip Stitched. So for the reference points that I've used here is you can see kind of where the bust line is, and then the sleeves kind of come out kind of halfway, around the halfway mark. And that's where I'm guessing they would go on me as well. And then it's a cut-on sleeve, so there's no seam line here. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect it right over. And because the fabric is going to be flat to my shoulder, on the shoulders I draw straight on the shoulder line, but then we can see that depending on what fabric, and say you're doing a linen, and a lot of the Zadies I've seen have been made in beautiful linen fabrics, the sleeve would probably come out a little bit from your arm. And then I'm just gonna draw this side too. Oops, that came out a little bit, that's okay. And then we want to picture that the sleeves are going around the body, and this one came out a little bit, so I'm just going to draw that one coming out there. The other piece is that it's a dartless design. There's no bust darts, and there's a lot of ease in the pattern. It's loose. It's designed to be loose fitting, and so I'm going to draw the lines of the side of the pattern, of the side of the body along the side of the bust. Not super close. I'm not going to trace exactly over these lines. I want to be try to imagine what the fabric would do, and that's where having photographs of other people is really helpful. Even the model photos, you can see here, this is great because it's a stiffer fabric, so you can really see the folds of the fabric. That's where it's really useful to look at other photos. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the line of the armpit line kind of coming out this way, and it's just going to kind of go along the edge of my body. And it's going to be kind of straight on me because it's following the outside of my body. There's a lot of ease in the pattern, so it's not going to be hugging my bust. There's probably going to be some wrinkles around the armpits. If you've made cut-on sleeves in kind of linen-y fabric, there's going to be some wrinkles there. Sometimes there's wrinkles in the wrap kind of around. And you've got some lines coming out from there, showing the fabric gathering. But the next thing that we're going to go ahead and draw is the rest of this wrap element. So here we have the wrap goes all the way across, and then it crosses back in for the front of the pants. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that wrap, but I'm going to leave a little bit of space for the belt. And you could draw the belt first if you want. I'm just going ahead and drawing this line, and it goes kind of above the crotch line. In the pattern flat, you can see that it goes straight to the crotch seam. But when you look at the model photos or photos of people that have made the pattern, you can see that the crotch line, like the pants, that V ends a little bit above the crotch. So here's my crotch point, and the V ends a little bit above. So I'm going to draw it going like that, so that's like a wrap like that. And then the seam line of the pants goes down from there. So that's the lines that we see in the pattern flat, but translated into where they land on the body. And you can see here, this line here, that's kind of the crotch fold mark for where the pants are. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to draw on my body model is that tie element. And I really like the tie here on the pattern flat, design flat, where you can kind of picture how wide the belt is going to be, and it's going to wrinkle a bit on the sides. And you can make your tie wherever you want. Because I don't want it to cover this element here, I'm going to go ahead and draw it in the middle. I've seen a lot of people, when they tie this jumpsuit, I've seen the ties a lot of times in the middle, I think because it kind of blocks that fold over the lower belly. So, you know, just kind of draw it coming down like gravity. And the other tie is going to go, where will I do it? I'm going to tie mine in a knot, and it's going to come down like this. So this is where an eraser comes in handy, where I'm just going to go like that. And then I'm going to draw the rest of the tie. And there we have a tie. The next piece on the design flats is these seam lines right here. So you can go ahead and draw those seam lines on your drawing. Because they're seam lines and they might not be super visible depending on what fabric you're using, you could try to make those seam lines a little bit lighter. I'm going to go ahead and just draw them with the very tip of my marker here. And they're going to go here. And I'm copying this right here. So you use the pattern flat for all the visual information. This one goes here, comes out like that. And a pattern flat drawing is just a drawing of the pattern, so it makes it a really great resource for drawing onto your body model. Okay, so we've got the basic elements of the top, we've got the wrap, we've got the belt, and the next thing I want to look at is the other distinctive design element of this pattern, which is the wide legs. And also knowing based on how it lands on the different model photos that we're using for reference, those wide legs go not quite at the ankle. They're somewhere between, they're not mid-calf, they're not ankle, they're somewhere, I'm just going to put a dot here so you can see. And I'm 5'5", so they probably wouldn't be quite as short as on some of the models. Mine would probably be somewhere between mid-calf and above ankle length. And that's the information I have from seeing it on the model photos, seeing it on images from Instagram and bloggers that have made the pattern. And then the wide legs, I'm again assuming I'm going to make this in a nice linen fabric because I love linen. We're going to go ahead and draw the sweep of the legs. So when you think about drawing skirts and pants, that bottom edge of the hem is the sweep. And for narrow pants, like peg leg pants, you would have a really narrow sweep. And for wide leg pants, you would have a wider sweep. And I'm going to be drawing it like a little bit of a U shape. I'm going to flip this over and draw on this. Make a little bit of a U shape because you're looking at it from above. When the eye is looking down at your legs, they're looking from up above. And so those straight lines of the pant leg are going to look like they're going to look like a little curve, like a little smiley face. And if you were drawing a skirt, this would be the sweep of the skirt, depending on how full the skirt is. So flipping this over, and we can kind of see those lines here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my wide legs. I like to draw, some people like to draw from the top down. I tend to draw the hem first and then connect the dots. It's just easier for me to make sure I get the sweep of the legs right. So I'm making mine, let's pretend it's in a really stiff linen fabric. Let's call it 100% linen. Those look about right. And then I can draw the lines coming down. So it's like a game of connect the dots. And it's going to be close to the body along the top, and then it's going to straighten out toward the bottom of the leg. So I'm going to draw close to the body until the hip, and then it kind of goes down. So I'm going to grab this side too. It's going to be close to the body, and then it's going to go straight down to the edge of the leg. And then because they are loose-fitting pants, the crotch isn't going to be like right exactly up in your crotch area. It's going to be a little bit lower. And so I'm going to draw the lines down from there. And that's going to be loose. And there's my Zadie jumpsuit. So some things that you can also add in based on the pattern flats is there's this nice wide hem, and you can see the nice little details of the hem length. So that can be fun to add into your drawing, to think about, those hem stitches, and maybe you'll be doing some top stitching or stitching the hem in a different color, or it might be visible or it might not. Looks like the sleeves are just hemmed. And there we have it. So one thing noticing here is I feel like, well, that's about right. So the belt is going to be pulling in, and then the fabric will be coming out a little bit further there. So it kind of blouses out above the belt, and it kind of blouses out, if you could call it that, below the belt. And there we have Zadie jumpsuit. So it's really just looking at the design lines of the pattern, seeing on images that you find on Instagram or on blog, or doing a Google image search. I use this one from Tip Stitched, and then I found a few others. This one's my handmade wardrobe. A lot of beautiful images of the Zadie jumpsuit online on different blogs. There's the model photos, and then of course there's always Instagram, looking up the hashtag. And oftentimes you can find someone. This is Apple Franca, who might have sewn up the exact version of something that you might want to make. And then you can use that as your inspiration photo to draw on your body model. So just to finish this up, let me just check what time it is. I have a couple more minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and draw some hair on my body model. And we do have a free hairstyles printable when you sign up for the MyBodyModel newsletter. So hopefully you will have that already. And if you don't, go ahead and sign up for the newsletter, and that's one of the free things that you get. And then there's also some more detailed drawing tutorial videos, and you get the links to those when you sign up for the newsletter as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw some hair on my model, and I think this will be a summery outfit. So I'll probably be wearing my hair up when I wear this. And for drawing hair, some tips are not to draw it really close to the head because your hair takes up space. And also your hairline actually goes down pretty far in the front of the face. So you can picture like if this is a headband here, your hair actually grows from somewhere down here. Your hair doesn't start growing up here. It starts kind of around the front. And you want to draw the hair in the direction, in the direction that it grows. So for me, a really quick, simple hairstyle drawing that I can do really quickly on a model is I often have my hair up in a bun. I usually do a part either on one side or down the middle, and then I have the hair coming out from there, and then I have hair kind of going, and then let's pretend that's my ears, and let's do a low bun here, and let's have a couple sticks holding my bun in. And then you can, well, my hair's a little puffy there, but then you can go ahead and draw the outline around your body model if you'd like. You can draw shoes. Sometimes I like to just do a simple flip-flop. I think that would be nice with, let's pretend this is where my toe is. Draw some nice flip-flops. And some people like to draw faces. I tend to leave faces off my drawings because they just don't look right to me. But here it is, a simple drawing of the Zadie jumpsuit. I would love to hear your feedback about this video if you found it helpful. What specifically is helpful, what specifically is not helpful, and also any patterns that you would like to see me draw. If you have a pattern you've been thinking about drawing on your body model, let me know and we could draw along together. And I would love it for future videos if you actually are drawing along with me at the same time. I think that would be a lot of fun. And then we can share our drawings of what we did in the sketch-along. I would love to see your sketches of the Zadie jumpsuit if you sketched along or if you would like to do it after this video. Please post them in the group so we can have some support from other group members, appreciating each other's drawings and getting inspired to draw and draw some more. Thank you all. Talk to you soon.